Yo, what's up, everyone? It's your boy Jack OATz to go. As you can see, there's no fancy editing. I don't plan on doing any fancy editing during this. I just wanted to put out a thank you video to you guys. And I know it's not a huge milestone, but it does mean a lot to me. I'm hitting about 200 subscribers here on YouTube and about to hit 900 followers on Twitter. And if you asked me like a year ago, I didn't think I'd have any, to be honest. If anything, I expected people just to like make fun of me and like be like, "Oh, that guy's the crazy guy," in the anime community. And I think I still am the crazy guy, but at least I'm not being made fun of, that much. But I just really wanted to say thank you because, like I said, I didn't think I'd get one sub on here or really any followers on Twitter. So it's just really nice to know that my takes and my opinions are validified to some extent within this community. So I did genuinely want to say thank you. And I wanted to just tell you guys a little about myself so you guys know exactly who you're watching and why I do what I do and whatnot. So I guess I'll go into that a bit. So, I started with anime just like Yu Yu Hakusho, Trigun, and Yuyasha. What else? Did I say Trigun already? Stuff like that. Dragon Ball, but I don't really count Dragon Ball. I don't really like the series. So if you didn't know that about me, I really don't like Dragon Ball that much. Your fights are cool. It's just not my cup of tea. But, I was more of a casual fan. I went through like Wolf's Raid and Hellsing and stuff like that. But I didn't start really acknowledging anime for what it was until I was about in middle school. And that's when I came across Naruto, the first arc, of course. And, the episodes are dropping as it's coming out. So, like, Naruto just come out around this time, right? And, or no, it didn't just come out. But it was well into Naruto by the time I was in middle school. Where were they? I forgot where they were exactly. Anyway, but it was really cool just watching this kid come from like this nothing brat that no one wanted to be around, into becoming like he was starting to get talked about more. He was starting to get acknowledged more. Watching this journey just in the first arc, and it was really nice because as a kid I was shy. I still am pretty shy. When I turn on the camera, I get anxious to put out videos. Like, I don't really have a reason to be, just like I have like less than 10 likes over 60 some odd videos, or less than 10 dislikes over, my 60 some odd videos. So, I mean, like, I don't think I've had one bad comment on any of them either. So I don't have like a huge reason to be, but I just am. That's just who I am. And, the thing is that I related to Naruto a lot because I was kind of that kid. I was the black sheep of every friend group I've ever had. I still am. And I think that's just because I look at things from a different perspective. And I don't know. I don't know why. But it's just been my relationship with every group I've ever been with. So it's just finally seeing a character who I can relate to, where like they know he's there. It's not like he's invisible and he means absolutely nothing, but it's just that they don't acknowledge him like they would acknowledge everyone else. And they don't really take Naruto seriously, and that was a big arc in my life. Was there was a time where people just straight up would not take anything I said seriously, and it was one of the bigger obstacles I had to overcome growing up, and so watching Naruto kind of helped because watching him go through these hoops, these flaming hoops, just to get some amount of clout for people to just take him a bit seriously, was really relatable to me. And then by the time I hit the end of middle school, we're hitting the Sasuke retrieval arc, and I'll say that was probably the time I became more invested in anime, because at least you guys, if you're not as old as I am, can attest to how hard the transition is between eighth grade and freshman year of high school. You start losing friends and you start gaining friends, friends you didn't think you'd gain, friends you didn't think you'd lose. And the story was the same for me. So, I specifically, there was one friend that I had going to high school. We'd known each other since fourth grade, and we're always around each other. But he decided to run off with this group that did some hardcore drugs, and I remember just trying to like fight him pretty much to not make that decision, because it was obviously an awful decision to make. And that story ended up wrapping up maybe a few years ago. He actually ended up dying due to an overdose. So it, for that whole thing to come around like that, I don't know. It just kind of hits different, But I ended up losing him as a friend going into high school. So, as that's happening, Naruto had just lost his fight with Sasuke. And Sasuke, wanders off into the woods to go find Orochimaru, who's the ultimate evil. And it was like, this is exactly what's happening right now. And it really hurt to see. So I was an anime only up until my freshman year of high school. So there was this huge gap between the end of the first arc and Shippuden. And so I was just kind of an anime limbo. I didn't really care to pick up another series or anything like that. And I was in English class with my friend Carrie, and Naruto was on his backpack. I think that's what it was. And I was like, "Oh, dude, I love that show." He's like, "Oh, do you read Shippuden?" And I was like, "Number one, bro, what are you talking about? Read? I don't read, even though we're sitting in an English class. Number two, what is Shippuden? We were just talking about Naruto. What is Shippuden?" So he put me on a game. And he was like, "Oh, bro, like you don't ever have to wait for an anime to drop. Like you just read the manga. It's always ahead." And I was like, "No shit. Okay." So as he told me that, he also told me like, but Shippuden already dropped like a few episodes already. So you should probably get on that. I was like, "No way." So he put me onto the link. Started watching Shippuden, and I was like, "Damn!" Like, all right. So the time skip hit. We're still the same age, and Naruto still kind of has to jump through more hoops, even though he's kind of proven himself at this point, right? And I just really enjoyed like how he changed. He was older, he was bigger, he was a bit stronger. We didn't see that until the training, but it was like. It was really cool to see that he didn't change too much. He was still, fucking nerd, always goofing around, but he did have a more serious tone when the time called for it. But to skip, some other stories, when I fully became invested in Naruto as a series, I had gone through this time in my life where my mom, she had appendicitis. Now, if you know anything about appendicitis, it's usually pretty, quick, harmless routine. Your appendix ruptures, and they just take it out of you, and you're good to go. But if you know anything about me and my family, if anything runs in my mom's side of the family, is that when it's time to go to the hospital, you don't go to the hospital. And that's exactly how we lost our grandma, or my grandma. And so what started out as stomach pains that my mom wrote off, days later ends up becoming really bad to where she's like almost incapacitated. And we had our family friend drive her to the ER after he dropped me off at school. And I get a call during class saying like, okay, your mom's heading into surgery. And like the doctors didn't really know how it was going to turn out because she had waited so long to get this done. And there's a poison, and essentially poison to your body inside of your appendix. So if you let that leak out too much, you can die. So that was kind of the story that I got. And that didn't hit right. Just imagine, leaving home, you see your mom and like, okay, the plan's to go to the ER. After you're out of the ER, you're going to be all better and life's going to go on. So, imagine leaving your mom and, you don't even get a drive to school from her. And then in the middle of your day, you get this call saying, like, okay, the surgery might be a little more serious than we had originally thought. And so now my whole life is kind of like trembling, right? And after school, get to the ER and we kind of get this rundown from the doctor. My aunt had to drive me there and kind of get the rundown of like, you know, this could be more complicated than it should be because she did wait too long for this procedure to get done. And so, of course, like who reacts to the news of like, okay, like your mom is, there's a chance that your mom can die, you know, for due to something that was completely preventable. So, of course, I'm breaking down, and my mom's out of surgery, but I didn't get to see her that day because she was still out from the surgery, and I don't think they wanted me to see her like that, especially the way I was breaking down after the news. So, I had to wait a whole day to see my mom. I didn't go to school the next day. Get to see her, and just a little bit about my mom. She's no bullshit, loving, like she's all I've ever had in my life. And a Navy vet, she's tough as nails. And she taught me how to be a man. And she's better than most men that I know now and have really ever known. And this is the first time I've ever seen her this weak, like physically, and she just looked exhausted. Like she'd been through so much mental anguish. And so watching that happen was really tough. Just, watching your Superman bleed. It was more than eye opening, it was earth shattering, completely life altering, and I was never the same after I walked in that room and saw her like that. And so I remember going to school the next day, and my first period class was AP English, and that's advanced placement. So that means you're the cream of the crop. This class counts towards college credits when you pass it, and very serious class. And I participated in all my classes. I always tried to be a really good student. And this day I had my head down because I was without rest for a couple of days by that point, and going through all kinds of shit inside, and I had fallen asleep on my desk in the class, and the teacher had called me out in front of everyone. And like I said, I'm already a shy person, so when I get like that kind of spotlight on me, I don't take it too well. Yeah, and especially when it's negative like that. And she was like, "You're gonna see me after class," and I was like, "Oh shit!" And the whole class was kind of laughing at me too, and it was just it really put me off for a long time because there are a lot of people, a lot of faces that I saw in there as friends who saw me, and like I did not look the same. I looked at myself in the mirror. I did not look okay, like by any stretch of the imagination. I did not look okay. And no one cared. My teacher didn't care. She had me booted out the class for one incident. Like, there was no ifs, ands, or buts about, like, hey, what's going on? Is there something wrong? One off day just accounted for my whole character. So, I got into a place where I didn't talk to anyone for about 2 weeks. It didn't matter if you were family, friend, teacher. You could have been anyone. I didn't want to talk to anyone. And I couldn't see my mom still because she was in the hospital. And I'm living with my aunt for the time being, and it was completely stressful. And when I wasn't talking to anyone, what I was doing was watching Naruto. And I was watching him overcome more and more obstacles. And the obstacles started to become him. It was him overcoming himself every time. When he had his convictions, his beliefs already, and anytime they were challenged, it was him looking inward saying, okay, how do I get bigger than this And it was something that I had to take in myself. I was like, okay, I have to overcome, you know, everything that's going on. So I kind of switched off the role of like, being just a son to this woman now to being her protector, because I didn't like how helpless I was during this whole thing. Like, I could have told her, like, go to the hospital sooner, like, and been more adamant about it, to prevent it. And, I wasn't. And so it kind of sparked this whatever inside of me, to take action. Action will always speak louder than words ever will. And so from that point on, I decided I would put myself out more. And even though people were not treating me the way I preferred them to treat me, I would treat them the way I wanted to be treated. And that's the golden rule anyway. But I was nice to my enemies, and I was nice to my friends. I was probably nicer to my enemies. And it turned out really well. I ended up gaining a lot of lifelong friends out of this whole journey in my life. And I had ended up picking up like a few skills. Just, I picked up piano as a hobby, and I was like, oh, I kind of like this. I ended up picking up more instruments, and I was like, okay, I think it's not really instruments. I just like learning new things that I don't know about. So I ended up picking a whole lot of other stuff. And people would always regard me as a jack of all trades. So thus the name Jack OATz to go. So jack of all trades, the Z for little razzle dazzle. But I've always used Naruto as like my standpoint. Okay, for a long time it was, what would Naruto do? And it was always the same. He would always overcome it, and he would become stronger from that point on. So it was like, I got to do the same. And that was me in sports. It was the same. I was always the underdog. And I remember I had my own little time skip arc too, which was like so nuts. Probably one of my favorite moments in sports as far as like high school goes. But I played lacrosse. You can see I coach lacrosse as well. But I was the slowest. I was not the most skilled. Lacrosse is a very hard sport to pick up, especially if you're not naturally good at it. So I ended up going to this camp over summer, and for the next 3 months, I was being trained by like legit top dogs who were going to like championships during that time. So I came back, and I was like one of the fastest, especially for my size at the time. Very, very accurate at whatever I did, and I knew how to read plays and people. So I ended up becoming a lot better than a good portion of the team. That's a whole other story, which I'll probably get into at another point in time if you guys want. But to keep going, by the end of high school, we're reaching this war arc, and it's probably one of the most interesting arcs in anime for me. Just because we were introduced to this character that was only lore for a long time, which is Madara Uchiha. And as soon as Madara hit the field, I knew that dude was my favorite character of all time. So, like, just watching the coffin lid drop and Madara step out, and then everyone's like, wait, who the fuck? So, like, hold up. Because that was supposed to be Madara, and that dude's a problem, but this is actually Madara, and now we have to fight him? Like, no one was expecting it. And then the way Madara decides to dismantle the Shinobi Alliance was top fucking tier. I will never forget how he did this. The first thing he did, taijutsu. He showed them, this is exactly how you do taijutsu, and no one does it like me. And then he moves on to Kenjutsu. He picks up somebody's, it was like a pole or something like that. And he was like, no one's going to do Kenjutsu like I do it. Literally blowing everyone away. Then he shows us, before Kenjutsu, he shows us how to disarm people and use their weapons against them. And then he shows us Genjutsu. And then after that, he shows us Ninjutsu, right? And again, no one does it like Madara does it. It took like 8 10 water ninja just to put out one jutsu from one person. Like, he showed them the ropes of how you are to be a ninja. So then he combines everything except for genjutsu at that point, where he, out of the mist, he makes those fireballs, and you see the fireballs coming, but then in the fireballs you see Madara's shadow jumping in with them. And at that point, you don't even know what's scarier. Is it the fucking flaming meteors, or is it Madara? Like, which one do we dodge first? And of course, Madara is the most dangerous one out of all of them, right? And one of the things that he did that made me a diehard fan was that he created this chaos. They were all in this mist, no one can see. He brings in those flaming balls, right? And then usually ninja are outside of their own jutsu. He dives into that shit. He dives into the fray and starts swapping hands with everybody. So he created this chaos, and then he just dances in it. And I was like, bro, like, this dude is so wild right now. And I don't know, I just really like that. It was just like, you can cause so much commotion, but it doesn't mean anything if you can't dance in it yourself. And I just liked how he took a really bad situation and made it work for him. So I was like, this is my character. Like, and it became less of what would Naruto do and what would Madara do. And not to say that I want to be a villain, but his mindset was unshakable. And then the Edo Tensei gets broken off, and his soul is floating away, and he literally wills himself back. Like, this guy is completely unbreakable. Completely unbreakable. And then he regains his own living body, no eyes, but he bodies this fodder ninja, and this is one of my favorite, this is my favorite shot of all anime, period. He is standing on this ninja. He's got one foot on them, and he's sucking the chakra out of them through that foot. And it's his back, that we see his back, and he's out overlooking the whole battlefield, and it's the Shinobi Alliance and all of the tailed beasts. And I was like, that hit, because it was literally him versus the world, and that's how it's always been for him. He was born in that, and it was just like another day, but it was so impactful, because that's how it is for everyone waking up every single day. It's always you against everybody, and if you don't have any other fans, your biggest fan should be you. Your biggest and your first fan should always be you. And that's why I'm always a big proponent on, like, don't put yourself down. People will do that for you, for sure. So you have to walk in with your best foot. You have to be your best friend. And that's kind of what I took away from Madara. I just really, like, I loved everything about his character. And, you know, of course, he wanted the best for people. He just did it like a really bad way, of course. But you know, this is what started developing anime for me. And I was like, okay, Naruto ends finally after years, right? And I was like, oh shit, like, what am I gonna do now? And then I finally find Black Clover. Now, this was about 2 years ago, and we had moved into this place after our house had burned down, and again, put me in a really dark place. It was like, okay, there was nothing I could do against that, and we had lost literally everything. I wasn't able to play my instruments for about a good year, and it was wild. Anyway, we move into this place, and I was like, okay, I gotta find an anime. You know, Naruto's over. And find Black Clover, and it's because a friend put me on it. Like, oh yeah, you gotta watch it. And I was like, okay, whatever. So I turned it on, and swear I was also doing a reaction to it, since I had never seen it, and I was gonna put it up on this page, and I couldn't get through like 10 minutes of it, because all he was doing was screaming, and it was literally hurting my ears. And so you guys would have hated me had I done that. And I sound like just like every other Black Clover hater. But I give it another shot about a few months after that, and I was like, damn, like, this series is really hitting, because I really loved OATz's character, just really ragtag guy, but really going towards his goal. Like, he was faced with insurmountable obstacles from the jump, and he was not put off by it one bit, not at one step of the way. And I was like, I gotta follow this kid. How is he gonna survive in this world? And just going from there to where we are now in the series is so rewarding, just to see that amount of growth. But yeah, picked up Black Clover, and then I came across Broku. I don't even know how I came across Broku. I think I was just looking at Black Clover theories on YouTube, and he came up, and I really liked Broku more than everyone else. And I was like, all right, like, this guy is really breaking down the series, and he's right on some of these things. Like, he's making some points. And I had some theories of my own at the time, but I didn't even think there was a community on YouTube that did theories, actually. I was just like, kind of came across that, and I was like, oh shit, okay. So I don't even know what video it was, but this was before. No, actually, it was a little after Zagrid was introduced, or as he got. No, it was when he got introduced. I was like, okay, I need to like talk my shit now. Like, I'm just gonna turn on the camera, and say what I gotta say. So if you go back to my first video, what an absolute fucking train wreck! It was a literal PowerPoint. And I was just talking over the PowerPoint. It was ridiculous, and I think you can hear the clicks. And I had to use some copyrighted music, so I had to take it out. So like one part of it doesn't make sense anymore. But that theory ended up being completely right. So I was like, all right, like, I'm onto something. I'm not completely crazy. So I was like, I started realizing, like, Black Clover has so many moving parts. And there's a lot to dive into. It's not just like an anime, not to put it down, because I love My Hero Academia, but there's not a whole lot to like break down. It's just what it is, and it's a great series for what it is. So, you guys probably don't see a whole lot of My Hero Academia stuff, because what you get is what you got, for the most part. So, I just really liked, like I said, the moving parts in Black Clover, and there's so many ways that Tabata can take this, and had it not been for watching Broku, I would not have thought, like, hey, I'm going to turn on the camera and hope people like this. And this was really just for me, because I didn't really have any, like, friends. Even though the friends suggested it to me, they stopped watching it. They don't even read it. And I don't have any, like, friends that are, like, hella into, like, the same anime that I'm into, so it's nice to be a part of a community that are into the same things. And not only that, but this community that accepts me for who I am and what I have to bring to the table. And I will forever be thankful for that. I don't need one more subscriber. I don't need one more follower. It'll be nice if I do, but this is, like, for us, honestly. And if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. If you don't, there's so many other YouTubers out there that do a lot cooler things than I do, because all I do is sit here and talk. But to the people, to the 900 on Twitter and to the 200 here, I really, really do appreciate you guys. And I hope you do stick around. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. Life does get busy. I have 2 full-time jobs. So I do this when I can. And I always want to make sure that the content I do put out is, in fact, interesting. Even if it's wrong, I hope it is still interesting. And again, I thank you guys for sticking around. I plan on giving you guys a lot more content. I have some special video series coming up. Like I said in the video, I am a jack of all trades. This is not one I really dove into, what I'm about to do. So you guys will have to you guys will have first row seats into watching me learn some stuff, and it's going to be super cool if it turns out really cool. But if not, it'll be really fun to just watch. But yeah, it'll be really cool for Black Clover fans. If it turns out really cool, I might give it away to one of my subs. So be on the lookout. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys a little let you guys know a little bit about me, so you guys know exactly who I am and why I do what I do. But yeah, I might do another video like this at another landmark. But yeah, thank you guys a lot. I really do mean that. And I appreciate the friends I've made over this past year, both on Twitter and YouTube. You guys have been so amazing to me, and I wish you guys all the best, and always feel free to hit me up. DMs are open. You know, comment section's always open. Whatever. Don't feel like you can't reach out. Even if you just want to talk about life gets fucking tough sometimes, and people need other people to reach out to, and I will always be that person. So feel free. While it's super unbusy right now, feel free. I appreciate you guys. You guys deserve the world, and I'm gonna give it to you. So I'm not gonna hold you guys any longer. This has been Jack Goes to Go. Thank you guys so much. Again, I can't thank you enough. You guys are the best, and don't know what I would do without you guys right now. When life gets stressful, I'm thankful that when I come to Twitter and to YouTube, you guys don't add to that stress. So I hope, in the same respects, I can also take stress out of your life when you decide to turn on a video of mine. So I hope we can keep that going. You guys are, again, the best. I'm going to stop out. I've done like 5 outros right now. It's been Jack OATz to Go. You either know or you don't.